Another iconic stage of the Tour de France. We just keep plucking out ones that isn't about performance. It's when the shit hits the fan, Jules. They're the ones we really like. And stage 12, 2016, is that iconic moment where Chris Froome did the Forrest Gump, got off his bike and just jogged to the finish line. It was an absolute shit show. But after doing a deep dive of the backstage pass, and I remember that day, you're onto it, mate. You could have predicted this.
Yeah, well, so I'm out in the Avant course as I am every day, or with you on those days, Jonesy. And the stage into Mont Ventoux, it's always a tricky one. That area of France is particularly exposed, particularly windy. And then when you come into the bottom of Ventoux, it's actually quite sheltered with the forest, and depending on what side of Ventoux you're coming in from, it can be quite varied. But once you get to that top part there, there's no trees. It's like a moonscape on top. And extremely exposed, and that was definitely the case. The case that day. It'd been a hectic day previously with Guerrero's crash and multiple splits already in the race, so it was already in pieces by the time they got to the bottom of Ventoux, and then we know the story on Ventoux there.
Well, I just remember that is the most condensed crowd because normally it's spread out along on the climb. But the last 2Ks, it was the thickest crowd we've ever seen. And you and I were looking at each other going, where are the police? There was a couple of gendarmes with this old thin bit of rope that would have snapped under any sort of pressure. And they were sort of spread out. And that was their crowd control. And then when we got to the finish, there was like 200 gendarmes sitting around having a gasper, cross on, just enjoying life. And we're going, this doesn't make sense. Why aren't they on the race route? We knew that the shit was going to go down.
Yeah, that's right. So they brought that finish down a few K from the top. They hadn't brought any of the barriers down, but yeah, as you said, just a gendarme with a little bit of rope. And once the crowd got wind that they're moving the finish down, everyone was coming down to see what the action was going to be coming into the finish. So just one of those massively chaotic moments. And I mean, that's the cool thing about the Tour de France is, you just never know what's going to happen any day. And that was, just like the other days, the bus is getting stuck. And we were right in the thick of it there that day of what was happening. And you could just see it all unfolding, but there's actually really nothing we could do but just enjoy ourselves.
Well, what people don't know is Adam Yates was right up there on GC. And there was absolute pandemonium after the race because they didn't know what to do. This had never happened before. They had never had the leader of the Tour de France get on the feet and just hot foot it to the finish line. And at one point there, Adam Yates, he was going to be in the yellow jersey.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they had stuck to the rules after that stage, Adam Yates would have been in the yellow jersey. But, I was actually because one of the jobs when I'm finished about the course, I'm one of the first at the finish line. So with the Swan year there, and Adam, when they were in the tent sort of getting changed, he had the young riders jersey, so he was going to go on the podium. And there was all this heated discussion going on behind the podium about what was happening. Obviously Froome was in yellow. He was the big hero of the Tour de France. But if they have stuck to the rules, that Adam Yates would have been in the yellow jersey because it's not the gains that Froome had made without the bike couldn't be added. What am I trying to say?
He fucked his time up.
He fucked his time up. But yeah, you got these big players there. You've got Brailsford, you got Froome, you got Prudhomme, and they, the commissaires were saying that Adam should actually have that yellow jersey for that podium presentation. But this is really one of the monumental things about Adam Yates, and it sort of came back on him, and they said to him, "Well, you've got the yellow jersey," and he said, "Well, I don't fucking want it. I only want to take it when it's fair game, when it's fair and square."
Yeah.
So he didn't. He shied away from. He had every right then to go, yeah, it's mine, I'm going to take it. And that was a big moment in his career. I mean, consequently, he went on in later tours to don the yellow jersey again. But, that spoke volumes for the character of that kid at that time in his career. It was an amazing decision on his part.
And the foresight, you'd always remember your first moment putting on the yellow jersey. And as soon as you're pulling on the yellow jersey, you just got these flashbacks of Froome running and all the fucking drama. And you'd just be going, well, that was a shit moment. So the fact that he had, like, that's what I loved about those Yates brothers, is they just had that mongrel.
Yeah.
Particularly with the media. Like, I loved it. And then even in that backstage, when you ask him about his thoughts about it, he's just taking the piss.
Final climb was feeling all right, but shit happens. So another day, TT tomorrow. I'm going to lose about 4 minutes to Froome. He's going to catch me, which would be pretty embarrassing, but we'll get on with it and we'll keep trying.
You know, there's a lot at stake in a situation like that for sponsors. You know, the potential for lawsuits, all that sort of stuff. There's so much happening, eh?
Well, yeah, there's a pending lawsuit from Jerry because he missed out on that yellow jersey time. So it's a good shout.
Yeah.